First you want to add in your zeros where they belong, and then you want to do 2 plus 0, which is 2, then 6 plus 9, which is 15, and you want to carry your 1, and then drop your decimal point, and then you do 5 plus 2 plus 1, which is 8, and then you do 0 plus 1, which is 1. Because it is a negative number, you want to put your negative little line thingy, and then you're done. First you want to place in your zeros where you need it, and then you're going to do 9 minus 0, which is 9. Then you're going to need to do 3 minus 6, which you can't do, so you're going to borrow from 5, make that a 4, and then it'd be 13 minus 6. 13 minus 6 is 7. Then you place down your decimal, 4, and then you do 4 minus 2, which is 2, and then 1 minus 0, which is 1. To multiply a decimal, you would want to start out by doing 2 times 7. 2 times 7 will be 14, and then you carry the 1, and then you do 7 times 0, which would be 0, and then you would add the 1, which would be 1, and then you would do 7 times 4, which is 28, and then you want to put a 0 down, and then you would stop because the 0 would just be zeros for all of them. When you add them all together, you would get this number, and then you would see how many spaces there are. So there would be 2 spaces here, and then there's 1 space here, so that would equal 3. So you're going to want to move the decimal to the 3rd spot, starting from the right. So your answer would be 2.814. You would do this problem differently because this problem is addition. So instead of putting addition, you would want to do subtraction. So you would do the opposite. So you would do subtracting 391 because that would cancel it out. And you would do that to the same side. So it would be 28 subtracting from, it'd be 28 minus 3.91. So then what you would do is you would just solve the problem and carry over all the numbers you need to, and you would do 10 minus 1, which is 9, 9 minus 9, which is 0, carry the decimal point, 7 minus 3, which is 4, and then the 2. So then your answer would be 24.09. To do this problem, because it's subtracting, you would want to do the opposite, so you would do addition. So to do that, you would cancel this out, and then you would do add 5.8, and then adding 5.8, it would be 2 plus 8, which is 10. You carry that over and carry over the decimal point, and then you would do 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 5, which would be 7. And then your answer is 7.0. To do this problem, since it is a multiplication problem, you would want to do the exact opposite, which is the division. So you would want to divide both sides by 2. So then off to the side, you would rewrite your problem, which would be 1.44 divided by 2, or in half. And because you cannot, obviously not, 2 does not go into 1, what you would just do to make it easier is just move the decimal over here. That way you can just do the problem and make it a whole number. So what I would do is I would do 2, how many times 2 would go into 14, and 2 would go into 14. Oh, sorry, I put the point different. It would be 0 because I cannot go in any times, but 2 can go into 14 7 times, and 2 times 7 would be 14. And then you would carry down the 4, and 2 would go into 4 2 times, and that would get you 4, and your final answer would be 0.72. To do this problem, because it is a division, you would want to do the opposite and do multiplication. So you'd want both sides, you'd want both sides to be multiplied by 8.2. I put 12, but that's not right. Okay, there we go, 8.2. So your final thing would be 0.6 times 8.2. That's the problem you would do. And then you just do that problem. So 6 times 2 would be 12. And then 2 times 0 would be 0. And then the 1, and then the 0. And then 8 times 6 is 48. So you drop the 8 and put the 4. And then 8 times 0 is 0, so, and then carry the 4 over, and then you add, and your final, and then you would make sure that you add your decimals. So there's one decimal space here, and then another decimal space here. So you'd have to move over 2 times. So your final answer would be 4.92. To do this problem, you would just add the numerators together since the denominator is common. So your answer would be 9/15. And then if you needed to, and then you would need to simplify it. And so you would divide each by 3. And your final answer, because 9 divided by 3, would be 3. And then your denominator would be 5. So your final answer would be 3/5. To do this problem, you would need to rewrite it because it is not right. So you would start off by doing 21/24 and multiply it by the denominator of the other fraction, which is 2. So 21 times 2 is 42, and 24 times 2 is 48. And you would do the exact same to the other. So 1/2 you would do times 24. So 1 times 24 is 24, and 2 times 24 is 48. So then, because 21/24 was first, you'd put 42/48 first, and then subtract that by 24/48, and then you would just subtract 42 minus 24, which would get you 18. So your final answer would be 18/48, but then you would have to simplify that. So you could simplify 18 by 6, and you can also simplify it by 48. So I have no room, so I'm just going to write it over here. You would do that divided by 6. So 18 divided by 6 would be 2, and 48 divided by 6 would be 8. So then you could also simplify it again because I messed up. So then you would get 1, and then 8 divided by 2 would be 4, so your final answer would be 1/4. To solve this problem, you would need to rewrite it. So it would be 1/4 times -2/3. Then you would rewrite it again, and it would be 1 times -2, and then 4 times 3. Then you would see if there's anything you could divide to make it easier. So which you could. So you would do 4 and 2, and 2 divided by 2 would be 1, and 4 divided by 2 would be 2. So then you would do 1 times -1, which is -1. And then you would do 2 times 3, which is 6. So then your final answer would be -1/6. To do this problem, you would start off by changing the reciprocal. So you would start off, it would be 3/4, and then you would flip 6, 7, so it'd be 7, 6. And then that's the number that you're going, and then you're going to multiply even though it's a division problem. So you'd be doing this. And then from there you would see if there's anything you can cancel out. So you could do 3 and 6, which would leave you with 1 and 2. And then 7 times 1 would be 7, and 4 times 2 would be 8, and then your final answer would be 7 eighths. To do this problem, you would do the opposite, and you'd cancel out, so you would add 1/6 to the problem, and you would, because the denominators are the same, you would just add 5 plus 1, which is 6, so it'd be 6, 6, so m equals 6, 6, and 6, 6 equals 1. To do this problem, since it's subtraction, you would do addition, so you would add 1/5 to cancel out, and then you would add 1/5 again.
He's funny. He's cool.
And because the denominators are the same, you do 3 plus 1, which is 4, so the answer would be 4/5. To do this problem, you would do division, so you do 4 divided by 1/5. And to do that, you would do multiplication and times it by the reciprocal. So it would be 4 over 1. Instead of 1/5, it would be 5 over 1. And then you'd multiply that together. So then you'd see if you can cancel out anything, which you can't. So 4 times 5 would be 20, and 1 times 1 would be 1. So your answer would be 20. To do this problem, you would do multiplication. So you do 6 over 1 times 1/2. So what you would do is you would line it up like this, and you would multiply. But first you would want to see if you can cancel out anything, which you can. So you could take 2 out of 2, which would leave you with 1, and then you could take 2 out of 6, which would leave you with 3. So then it would be 1 times 3, which is 3, and then 1 times 1, which is 1, and then your final answer would be 3.